You have Jay, Matthew, and Daniel. These two are the co-owners. We're going to go over their story, how they started, how we all met. Let's get into it. So, how'd you guys meet?
It's a great question, Matthew. We met a long time ago. We met probably like 1997. We were both in the 3rd grade. I was in the school already. I started that school. Jay moved from a different town. And I was the biggest kid in the class, and he was the smallest kid in the class. And naturally, I wanted to prey on the weak, so I ended up betting him. I saw him on the playground, and we were playing kickball, so I was like, all right, I got $3 in my pocket. I'm going to bet this kid $5 that he can't kick a home run on kickball. For those of you who don't know what that is, YouTube it. Us 90s kids used to play kickball. It's a great game. But
whooped his ass.
Yeah, so I ended up betting him the $5. I said, there's no way you could kick a home run. He takes the bet. I'm already happy. I'm counting my
This was the first day of school, right?
Yeah, it was the first day of school.
And you guys you grew up in Jersey, right?
Yeah, North Jersey, yeah, in Wayne.
And then, County.
So I make the bet. He's up to bat, kicks the ball, barely gets out of the infield. And he's so fast, he touches all the bases and hits a home run. Now, mind you, I told you I bet you $5, but I only had $3 in my pocket.
What did you spend the other money on?
Probably candy or soda. I don't really remember. My memory's jaded, but yeah. So I ended up owing him money, and that's kind of where our relationship started. And ever since then, we've been best friends.
So I feel like a lot of friendships start when the two people don't like each other that much. So is that similar?
I hate them.
Yes.
Nah, I don't think that was the case because it was literally only the first day. Again, I'm an opportunist, so I was preying on the weak. Yeah. So I was trying to, get my money up. But
do you have that money, by the way, the $2 you owe me?
Didn't work out for me. I lost my wallet, so I don't have it.
All right, so let's get into the childhood. So you grew up in Jersey in the 90s. Mm-hmm. No phones. Mm-hmm. Today everyone lives up to phones.
Bicycles.
That's how you got around. Mm-hmm. Sports, big in sports.
Yeah, well, I was. He tried.
At that point in time, we both played sports. I was headed to a pro career, but
he was mediocre. I
ended up, getting an ACL and an MCL and a meniscus thing. But that's for another podcast. For another podcast.
What did you play? What sports did you play, bud?
I played badminton. I played competitive chess.
He danced.
I was in dance.
You went to shout out to 5, 6, 7, 8 dance.
I did jazz.
Miss Corey.
Jazz.
He danced with my sister.
No, but I played a bunch of sports: football, baseball, soccer, all the other stuff. Sports was never really my thing, although I was incredible at it. Jay played field hockey. And
I was big into sports. He tried to play. He played lacrosse growing up. I was a hockey player.
And again, this is before the cell phone era, and kids were glued to their phones. So when you had a play date, it was like you ride your bike to your friend's house.
We made games up. We played outside. Yeah. We rode bikes. We were outside all day.
Yeah. Now it's just all video games.
Like you.
Yeah.
So were you guys the nerds in school? Were you the popular kids? Were you well known? Were you bullies?
He was bullied. You were bullied. You were bullied.
Makes sense.
A little bit.
When you're the most popular kid, you don't have to flex and be like, I was so popular. But basically every kid wanted to be my friend. I was in all the circles, right? So I hung out with the athletes, I hung out with the nerds, I hung out with the goths. Everybody wanted to be my friend. Jay was lucky enough that I brought him underneath my wing, to kind of, show him the
ropes.
Yeah. Show him the ropes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting times.
We were
still like that today. Is there cliques today, with kids?
Of course, you still have different groups in school. I make sure I treat everyone the same. Everyone respects me. So I show respect people. They reciprocate the same energy. So I think it's very important to be nice to everyone. And then
what era would you have rather grown up in, ours or yours?
Of course, mine. Now I have the phones. Things get done a lot faster. It's easier to do better in school. There's a lot more extra.
So it's easier to cheat.
And by do better, he means cheat.
Yeah. So we cut that out.
Which we also did too. We just had our own ways.
All right.
We had to put work in the cheat.
So growing up, how important was your family? Did you were they a big factor in your life? Of course, you have kids. You love your parents and stuff like that. So tell us about your parents. You had siblings.
Yeah, growing up for me, family was everything. I had 2 older brothers. I had a little sister. My mom, My father died when I was younger, you know, when I was like 10 years old. So, you know, just having my mom being like a single, strong mother was definitely big for me. My 2 older brothers who were honestly just crazy, you know, they definitely were nuts.
I don't know if it's a sensitive topic or anything, but was your father's passing, did it change who you were as a person, especially when you're younger?
Yeah, I mean, I think any young man who like loses the father figure in their life definitely like can trigger a multitude of things. Like I think you can go a couple different routes, but if you don't have a strong mother to like bring you up and guide you, you know, you can start fucking around and doing like not so good things. But like I always had somebody there to like crack the whip, like keep me in line. And then I had 2 older brothers that like were, I don't want to call them father figures.
But you were like at a age in your life where like you could have went, different route. You were young, but like a year or 2 later, and you still never really went.
Yeah, I was 10, so like my brothers were in their teens. You know, my brothers made some not so great choices when they were younger. You know, which obviously they've learned from then. But I got to watch them kind of, you know, fuck off and fail, if you will. So it kind of scared me not to fail. So I mean, yeah, it's one of those things. But Jay comes from a huge Italian family who I spent a lot of time with too. So I had like a multitude of family culture. You know,
you had so many friends, family. You know, so you had a good support system, which I'm sure helped. But yeah, we grew up different but the same. You know, we grew up the block from each other. I come from a big Italian family. We grew up in West Patterson for the most part in a 3-family house.
You know, childhood, the way you were molded as a kid, it says everything about you. Anyone to this day, you know what I mean? Like you hear about so many kids growing up with like single mothers that can't, you know, take care, like they can't take that role on, and then their kids start to fall into like bad routines, and then, you know, like you hear about it all the time. But I mean, I was grateful. I grew up in like a strong family. So for me, it was, you know, I spin it the positive way.
So I'm in high school now, senior year, very important year, transition into college. Since 8th grade, I've started businesses and super focused on, you know, the business entrepreneurial journey. Was that something you guys were focused on? Did you really care about business? Did you really care about making money? What were you focused on?
No, we were focused on partying. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but he was the same thing. But
So before we went to high school, we grew up in the same town. We went to the same middle school. Freshman year, moved to a different town. So I moved 10 miles up the road. So I didn't go to high school with them. The town we grew up in was is known for like a crazy town. There was like a lot of parties, a lot of like, you know, extracurriculars, if you will, like, and not in the business mindset aspect of it. So like for me, when I got to high school, I didn't give a shit about business. I didn't even give a shit about school. You know what I mean? Like I didn't care. I just wanted to like have a good time. You know, I realized that like sports weren't for me, so I ended up quitting sports. You know, smoked a bunch of weed. Sorry, Mom, but that's the truth. So for me, I fucked around a lot, and I didn't, you know, I didn't have that like business mindset. I was a musician too at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna be the next rock star. I'm gonna have like this like crazy career where like I'm traveling around the world, which, you know, I ended up going to a music school for that. But like, again, here I am. I'm a jeweler, so your life changes a lot of times. But for him, it's probably a little bit different because like again, that town was crazy. There was tons of partying, and you know.
So crazy school like Dan said. So what was that like?
Yo, that town is fucking nuts. I can speak for myself, but yeah.
Yeah, your brothers went to Valley. I went to Wayne Valley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, school in the early 2000s, high school was crazy. I wasn't focused on becoming an entrepreneur or, you know, starting businesses. I was more focused on partying and, you know, doing crazy things and being a stupid kid and.
Yeah, and this was for us was
time
like
period.
It was before
we had no
smartphones.
Guidance in a sense.
This was all like before smartphones and shit too. So like we were able to get away with so much when we were kids. Like yo, we literally I could have done anything and like got away with it. The only way I would have gotten caught.
We did do any. You know,
it's like other kids would have been like, yo, you heard what he did? Like that was it. Like it wasn't like
no camera phones.
Snapchat sent out to a fucking 1,000 people being like, yo, look at him doing some dumb shit. Like we literally, like there was none of that. So there was no way.
I feel like we were like adults. When we were kids. Like now I look at you and, I mean, not you because you're the anomaly, but for the most part.
No, even I see kids 14, 15, 16, they look like they're, 10 years old.
So
For
They're
us,
like they're babied by their parents.
Put it this way, by the time that I had gotten to like college, quote unquote, like I had already felt like I was like already lived like a college lifestyle.
Self-sustainable.
Like we already partied so much and like did like a crazy amount of shit that when I got to college, I was like, yo, this is college. Like you hear people being like, yo, college is crazy, but it's like we grew up.
But imagine we had the mindset that Matt had at that age. How far ahead we would be.
That would have been incredible. Yeah, and that's why we brought you on, because we see that you got the vision. Like you're not like most 17-year-olds. You're not like us when we were 17 years old. So it's like, yeah, life is crazy, man. But here we are.
So you still would pick your generation over our generation?
Oh yeah, like I said, like the phones. I mean, it's a hard choice because I never lived in that generation. But I like how the phones, everything's quick. My brain's just constantly moving and moving and moving. So I like the quick, the internet, and you're able to learn so much more stuff, and you're able to start a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do. I mean, sure, back in the 90s.
Bro, we would go to an event, and like the only way you would like find each other at the end of the event, they'd be like, yo, meet over here by like this like concession stand at the end of the show. Like if we get lost.
Like now you can just FaceTime.
It's like, yo, where are you at, or FaceTime? Like those were the era we grew up in, which was the best, I think. But
so throughout high school, was your relationship, were you guys close? Or how was that?
We're always close, but again, like I live 10 miles up the road now, and I was at a different high school, so like I didn't see him as much as like I normally did when we were kids. We didn't live 2 minutes away from each other. Now we live 25, 30 minutes away from each other. So again, like in high school, I had my own clique of friends that I went to school with, and I was still friends with a lot of the kids that he went to school with just because I knew, but like I ended up staying in like kind of like my own lane up there. And again, I got into like some different stuff. I wanted to be a musician, so I started going down that route. And
yeah, we were still close, but of course you're gonna drift apart a little bit.
Find new friend groups and stuff like that. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
And his brothers still hung out in Wayne, so like that was like still the connection for you. And
and then like after getting into like after high school, I ended up going to college in Boston, so I moved up there, which again now you're 4 or 5 hours apart, and so not that we grew apart, but again it wasn't like every day like I'd call him on the phone, see how he's doing and stuff like that. But like, things just changed like for that, but not like in the worst or anything. It's just like, that's just like the way you grow, and then obviously he was doing his own thing and I was doing my own thing. And,
I got a little crazy for a little while and, kind of went down the wrong path, and you went to, Berkeley.
Yeah. I went to Berkeley College of Music for 2 years, and then I ended up dropping out. In my early 20s, actually like probably like my late teens to my early 20s, a lot of crazy shit happened to me too. Like I had one of my other best friends, he passed away, which at that time now you're a man, you're a grown man. So like kind of fucked with my mental a little bit. And I didn't care about school. I didn't really care about shit. And then, you grow out of that, and then you realize, oh shit, like now I'm 23 or 24, like I got to make money. Like you can't just like live off of mommy anymore. Like, so you have to figure out ways to like earn income. So for me too, it was like, I had fucking 30, 40 jobs by the time I was like 25 years old.
So you went to Berkeley, and then you ended up
dropped out.
But then you went to...
Moved back to Jersey, and then I ended up, going to William Patterson, which is a college up in North Jersey. And I was like, all right, I'm going to become a police officer. Because I needed some sort of like, again, I had to like figure out a way to make income.
You want like a foundation for yourself.
Right, yeah. So everybody's like, well, be this or be that, or do this or do that. And I was like, all right, I'll just like become a cop.
You didn't know what you wanted to do,
yeah,
really.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. So
you were settling in a sense.
I settled. I went to college. I went to William Patterson. I ended up getting my bachelor's degree. And then after that, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to move to San Diego. My brother was out there. He was in the Marine Corps. And I moved out there, and then I was going to become a San Diego sheriff. But at that time, again, I needed a job to sustain before, the academy and everything like that. So I got into sales. Yeah. And then like a light bulb went off that I was like, holy shit, like I don't want to be a cop, because I could have like 1 or 2 good months selling, and I'm already making a cop salary, in 2 months. So like, that's where my like entrepreneurial like mindset like really kicked on. It's like, it all started with me with sales. It was like, all right, I'm in sales now. Like I could go out there and sling it and like make good money. And then again, like I had multiple sales jobs because I was selling one thing, and then I'm like, all right, I'm not making enough money. I want to go sell something else. You make a little bit more money. I was always like laddering up.
And you set your own, your own salary.
100%, yeah. I think anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur or like has that like they need to get themselves into a sales role first, because if you're not selling, you're not, and that's in everything.
More importantly, find a good mentor that can help you.
100%. Definitely. They say you are who you surround yourself with, so you got to like find those. If you're hanging around with shitheads, like you're going to be a shithead. Yeah. You're hanging out with guys that are making way more money than you, you're going to elevate to make more money. So it's like, so after, you know, I got into sales, I obviously realized that like, this is the path. This is like the ultimate way to like make money. Then I wanted to decide like, how can I, you know, do something on my own? Because even when I was in a sales role, I hated having bosses. And I knew the same thing was going on in his career, because this was before he started his business. He was selling too. Like he had sales roles. Like what were you? You were selling solar. You were selling a bunch.
But he was in San Diego, so were you in San Diego as well, or were you in Jersey?
I never moved out to San Diego. I always
he was in Jersey the whole time.
And I lived in New York for a little while, back to Jersey. But yeah, I mean, we went in completely different paths. But I started doing hair in my early 20s. I kind of had no path. I had no guidance. I had no direction and where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I started, I went to cosmetology school. I got my hair license. I started cutting hair.
You did nails too, right?
I did nails and perms. Yeah. All that fun stuff.
That's cute.
No, so I started doing that, and then, you know, I kind of just always, you know, wanted to grow from that point, but I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew that like doing hair wasn't my passion, but I was pretty good at it. I was pretty successful in doing it, but I wanted more. So I started selling solar. My buddy opened up a big company. I started selling for him, and I think that's where like I learned a lot of
sales.
I mean sales, but just everything, networking, you know, different aspects of the business.
Even through all this time of, you know, trying to find your profession and figuring out what you want to do with your life, how do you guys stay in contact? Or, you know, did you find yourself back when you started this business?
We still spoke. We're still best friends throughout this whole. So even though I would fly out to California and visit him.
Yeah, exactly.
He would come back once in a while. Mostly me going out there, but like.
And again, like touching back on like we had to both figure out ways to make money, because it's like now we're not young, now we're not kids, like now we're adults. So it's like we both had to figure out ways to make money, and we both always like the finer shit. Like we always like nice shit.
We also both don't. Or maybe I like didn't like the authority or like an authoritative figure. We kind of always probably wanted to be our own bosses without knowing that we wanted to be our own bosses, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like even though he had sales, I'm sure, or you were in sales, I'm sure you weren't happy all the time with having bosses tell you what you had to do, what time you had to wake up, this, that, and the third.
I used to fucking hate philosophical sales managers that would like sit there and be like, I read 17 sales books and like, this is what like elevates you to the next level because of like this, and this. But then I would see some dude rolling around in like a Lambo or some like nice shit who opened up his own business, who just like grinded it out, like never had these like philosophical thoughts, just like actually got to it and like made it happen. And I'm like, shit, like I want that kind of money. Like I don't want to like, even my sales managers, like, yeah, they made a little bit more money. I mean, not even, because like top sales guys are making more money than sales managers. So I'm like, you're managing a team that a guy's making more money than you, and then the boss is making more money than everyone. So I'm like, how do I become the boss? Like I tell the story all the time. Like my last sales role, I was standing in a sales meeting, and I had the owner of the company. It was me and like 5 sales guys and my sales manager. And he was telling us when he exited his last company, how much money he made. And he was at the Lamborghini dealership. He's going to spend $300,000 on the Lambo. But then like, was like, you know, I got to get right with God. So I dropped off a check for like $300,000 to the church. He's like bragging to like our team about all this money. And I was just like, what I saw out of that was like, yo,
you were like clocked out at that point.
Yeah, I was like,
so who was the first one that said like, that's it, I'm done, I'm gonna start my own business?
So no, so
yeah, we gotta like go back to it, because I stopped working for the solar company and I opened up my first barber.
And what age is this?
I was 26.
Yeah, so he opened up his own business. You know,
I was in the business for 5, 6, 7 years. You know, prior to opening up, I opened up my own barbershop. While he was still in California, while he was still in sales, we talked every day. I grew that business. And again, like I said before, it was never my passion. I didn't enjoy doing it, but I was good at it. I was good at networking. I had built a good book of business, and I surrounded myself with a lot of, you know, like-minded people, wealthy people that I learned a lot from.
Yeah, and it basically, like, it got back to, like, we like nice shit. So, like, at one point in time or another, he's buying a Rolex. And I'm like, shit, like I want to get a Rolex. So like the idea of the jewelry and watch company didn't even start then and there, but like we loved watches, we loved Rolexes, we loved nice cars, we liked all of that stuff. And then it just like sporadically, like I was like, all right, now it's time for me to buy my Rolex, you know? And then I'll never forget, I was
I kept telling him to buy it. He had the money, whatever. Like, it took him like years to whatever, but
step up to the plate.
He finally fucking, you know.
So then I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go buy my watch. And then like, I go to buy my watch and I see the exact watch on 20 different websites, priced 20 different ways. And I'm like, yo, how is the same watch priced 20 different ways? One is X amount, one's X amount less.
This is also way before COVID. This is before
The market was booming. Yeah.
and the market was completely different.
Right.
Just to give people.
So I ended up finding what I thought was like a good deal, and I'm like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna pull the trigger. So once the watch came in, like we could all attest to it. We're all wearing nice watches. When you have the watch on your wrist, you're like, it's almost like a whole, like for me, it was like, holy shit, like
you feel different. You move around.
yeah, you move differently. Like yo, I made it in a sense, right? Like I got this like expensive watch on, and like, you know, most of the population doesn't even know what it is, but like those who know, right? And like those are the people you want to surround yourself with. So then we got to talking, and there was a couple other guys like in the space that were doing what we're doing, right? Like through the YouTube and through like social media, and jokingly but non-jokingly kind of like both discussed, we're like, yo, like fuck it, like let's quit what we're doing and let's become watch dealers and jewelers, like not knowing anything about the business at all.
And you still didn't move back to Jersey? Or?
No.
No, he was still in California, so we were still. This was again, like he said, we were just like one day we're on the phone and we were like, "Yo, fuck this!" Like, I had my own business.
Yeah.
He was doing his sales shit. Like,
Yeah.
we by no means needed to do it, or we just knew that what we were doing at the time wasn't what we wanted to do, and we the only way to create the life that we wanted to live was to do something that we loved and really grow it and be successful at it.
And you gotta
take the risk.
And take the risk, yeah. So then we're like, I was like, all right, like let's toy with the idea. Like, how do we start? How do we begin?
Okay, so how did the watch journey begin?
So we ended up just like, again, like I said earlier, we were like toying with the idea of doing this. And I had a lot more free time on my hands because I was working remote and I hated my job. So like anything to like get out of actually working, like I was like all for at that time. So we pulled some money together. We're like, all right, we'll start with X amount of money. We'll try to like, I think the goal at first was like, let's sell 2 watches a month.
Yeah.
Like if we could just sell 2 watches a month for some profit, like put a little side money in our pocket.
Knowing nothing about the business.
About the business
We
at
knew
all.
zero.
So I ended up,
We don't come from a jeweler's background. Our family, you know.
yeah.
So
for us, literally having zero knowledge in the business at all, other than like we'd like watches. Like I would basically position myself, and I would go online. I would look at prices of watches. I would look at like markets like OfferUp and Marketplace and things like that. And I ended up finding the first watch that we ever purchased, who was from a gentleman named Bert Levy, who's great guy, one of my mentors. Shout out Bert.
He got us into the business essentially.
Yeah, Bert was a big plug for me.
So real quick before you get into that, so for those that want to get into the business, do you suggest to get a mentor? Is that like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to have some type of mentor for sure.
But the thing is like in a lot of businesses, especially our business, like people are so shut off and like not friendly, and like the egos are so high. So like most people you walk into, they just see dollar signs in you. They're like, all right, like
they either try to get over on you or they
like,
shit on you.
Yeah, they're like, all right, like either like get out of my fucking store, or like, yeah, I'll get you some deals, and then like you just fucking overpay and then they crack you. I got lucky meeting, like everything happens for a reason. You know, meeting Bert, I went to his store. I found the first watch, which I thought was a great deal. And the reason why I thought it was a great deal is because I saw the price of it and I didn't see that price anywhere online. Which, I mean, as if any of you guys are watching and are watch people, you'll see that like you think you have such a great deal because you see what people are asking on Chrono and all these different platforms. And then when you go to resell it to a dealer, they offer you so much less than you even anticipated. But there's a reason for that, because there's an actual internal market where dealer to dealer are working. So they know the margins, they know where they got to buy it to be safe. So 10 out of 10 times, if you're in that space, you're losing money. So I went, I found a watch. I thought it was a sick deal. I'm like, this is great. We're gonna make at least $1,000 on this watch. Long story short, we end up selling it. We lose $1,500 on the watch, thinking it was such a sick deal. But
so like again, like I don't mean to cut you off, but like that was our first deal.
First watch deal.
First deal ever. We lost fucking $1,500. We could have just been like, fuck this. Like, we're done. Like, we're not going to do it anymore. Like,
kept on going, you didn't just stop.
Right, and I mean, and it gets worse. Like, it doesn't get better.
Yeah, it gets worse before it gets better.
So the silver lining on that first loss was that I met Bert, and Bert saw something in me, and I try to do this too with you now, and like people I see that are like hungry. Like, I want to help you. I don't want to hurt you. I see that you're interested and you want to learn. Bert saw the same thing in me and was like, hey, like, maybe check out, like, there's a lot of private dealer chats and things like that you need other dealers to vouch for you to be in, where it's like the real market of these watches. He's like, I'm going to invite you into one of these groups, quote unquote, or whatever you want to say. He invites me into the chat. He starts to like drop little like gems, like, hey, try this, or offer this, or this is a good price for that. And he started to like help me. So he made money on me off the first deal, but he also saw something in me where he wasn't going to like take advantage of me. Yeah. He was there to like help. So long story short, I end up finding another watch. I called Jay. I'm like, bro, like I got this watch. It's a sick deal. It's at a local pawn shop in San Diego. I'm like, bro, we're going to rip it. Like the prices are crazy online. Like this one, I know for sure we're going to make money. Like no problem.
But that's it. The issue is we would get the watch, but then it's like, now what? How do we sell it for a profit?
Right.
Like we really didn't know. So the only way we thought at the time was through eBay, which I knew was very sketchy, and you know,
that's another thing too. Like when you're buying high-end goods, no matter what it is, whether it be watches, jewelry, cars, whatever, people think like just because you got a good deal on something, you can go sell it for a profit. But most people want to buy from somebody trusted, so they don't even care. Like if you're offering them a deal, they're like, who the fuck?
We didn't have a store. We didn't have a store. We didn't have a name for ourselves.
I don't trust you.
We were like Joe Schmo, and he was walking around with a backpack.
I'll go pay a guy like Bert $3,000 more because Bert's got a store. And I trust him versus like, yo, I'm giving you a sick deal. So you learn quick that like, it's even when you buy the things right, like how do you actually go ahead and sell them? So then we were like, all right, fuck it, let's try eBay. So I'm like, all right, I'll never forget, I put the watch up on eBay and I'm golfing. I used to golf all the time because I was never working. So I was like, fuck it, let me go golf. I'm calling him. I'm like, yo, it's up on eBay. And we posted it for, I forget, it was like
9600 something or
we posted
whatever.
like for $1,000 more than we bought it. We're like, all right, let's just like see if we can make profit. I get a full offer.
Well, we were getting like multiple offers. Some were lowball, some whatever. Yeah. So then he hits me up like he got like on eBay. Nobody's giving you a fucking full offer. It was a full blown offer.
Like, I'll take it at full ass.
So we thought it was sketchy, but like I think for him, and I can't speak for you, but like we were so excited, or you were so excited.
Bro, I couldn't even finish the round. Like I was golfing, I was like, yo, I'm leaving.
He's, yo, we're gonna make $1,500 on this fucking watch.
I was like, yo, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna pack the watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, the dude's sending me a shipping label. So the way the scam worked is that they sent me an email which looked like it was eBay.
They like hacked into. Didn't they like hack in?
No, it was just like a fake eBay email, basically like saying like click here for like shipping instructions. It was like very like, and I'm like,
there was escrow involved where like the money would go to like,
the money would be sent to this payment thing. Again, nothing was eBay, but it was like eBay like letter headed, you know? So I'm like, shit, I'm like, this is so fucking legit. Like we're gonna make fucking all this money. I get the label, I fucking pack up the watch and I ship it. And I just had like a little like weirdness like feeling. I was like, fuck, like, wait, this was like way too easy. Then I look at the email or the whatever, like the domain, and I'm like, holy fuck, like that's not eBay. And then like I remember like contacting eBay and they're like, yeah, watch out for like scams. Like don't send, like it has to be through like this portal. So I click into that portal, I see no money, nothing.
We Google map like the house, and the house didn't match like the original address. Like it was just.
So I spent $8,000 on the watch, robbed.
That's $8,000 plus the $1,500.
Yeah, so
we're down almost $10,000 in the first two watches.
First two deals down $9,500.
But then so tell the people what happened with the guy that scammed. Like
so after the deal goes through and I get scammed, eBay can't do anything about it because it wasn't even through eBay's portal or anything like that. It was just like a stupid fucking. I get scammed. The guy sends me an email saying like, I'm very sorry that I had to do this, but like my family needed the money more than yours. Like something along those lines. Like
this big thing about
like sorry for doing this to you, but like
don't try to go to the cops. Don't try to go to the cops. Find me. Like everything's been deleted. Like he like apologized, but also rubbed it in that he just robbed us.
Yeah. So there you go. 2 watches in. We're trying to do 2 a month. We've already lost $10K within like a week, 2 weeks.
And were you guys? I know you were in San Diego. You were in New Jersey. Were you guys fighting at all? Like, were you guys? Like,
we weren't fighting at all.
At this time, it was such like the beginning stages where like we were trying to pick each other up and not get the other one to stop or not get the other one to quit.
Yeah, like
or
he
like,
couldn't be mad at me and I couldn't be mad at him because it's like we make the decisions together.
Yeah.
So he's like, yo, all right, like we're shipping it. We're doing this. We're doing this. Like we're like, yo, we're going fucking 100% at this.
I remember when he called me, I was at my barber shop and it was at the end of the day. And I remember like going into the bathroom on the phone with him because I had all the people that worked for me and I didn't want to, do it in front of them. And I was just like, I felt deflated. Like I remember just like fuck, in my mind, I thought that he was gonna stop at that point. I thought at that point, like, I know I didn't want to, but like I knew, like, what if he was like, yo, we're not doing it, like whatever. And in my mind, I thought he was gonna be like, yo, like this is it, like.
So then, like after that had happened, obviously, it's like a kick to the nuts. You're like, shit, like I just lost 9,500. I suck at this. Like we're not watch dealers. We're not jewelers. We're idiots. Like is essentially like the feeling. But then it was like something snowballed. So like again, having Bert in my corner, I ended up. Again, within a short while, I was going to multiple jewelers around town. I ended up befriending multiple jewelers around town. Now that I have like a couple guys like quote unquote vouching for me, like, yo, this guy's good. So we got invited into more and more dealer chats. So we started to get a feel for like the real market, the way things like are really selling. And I started to get savvy and I was like, all right, let me get on OfferUp and Marketplace and let me start to like shark deals. Like, let me try to like.
So so also like before that, with the ADs and stuff, explain because the gap is like Tilo.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Tilo, and like how that kind of all started.
So during this time, this was like before the watch craze, like right before the watch craze like got really insane. We ended up going to like a couple local authorized dealers
because we thought that a great way or like the business is also through ADs. Like at the time, we were banking on getting watches from ADs and selling them for a profit.
Because we knew at that time, like again, if you got a Submariner, if you got like a Pepsi or a Gem, like any of like the hotter models, still at that time, there was still like some money to be made if you were able to get them at the authorized dealer. So we went into like multiple authorized dealers and we're like, fuck it, like we got a credit line, like let's try to like use our credit cards and fucking buy watches from the authorized dealers. And like, that was like kind of like an initial like niche. Like we got good at it. We realized like when we walked into the authorized dealer, like A, we're not getting scammed because it's Rolex. Yeah. And then it's like B, if we can build relationships with these guys, they'll offer us pieces that have money on them. So then like the
story was great because our story, we were actors in a sense, and the story was great because we were really kids that grew up together. We were best friends. Yeah. So we used that at the ADs, and they
loved us. And like we don't look like two regular like customers that walk into a Rolex authorized dealer. Like we're both tattooed. Like we walk in, we're funny. Like we're joking. We're making fun of each other. They're laughing, and like we were able to win over two authorized dealers in San Diego. Like fairly quickly because we knew you had to spend money to make money. Like we learned that very quickly. Like
we took a lot of losses there too, but we had a lot of wins.
We knew that we're like, all right, if we spend money with these guys, they're gonna like float us and give us like things that like have money on them, and we did it. So like, long story short, one of the authorized dealers, after we had bought a couple different pieces,
we became friends with him. He was taking. We were going to the U.S. Open. We were going to baseball games and boxes. They really thought we were friends.
So we were doing that paired up. Now we're like, I was able to buy and sell on the side. So I was like buying and selling. We're actually starting to make some profit. We were buying watches and we make $500. Sometimes we make $300. Maybe we make 1,000. Like if we made 1,000, it was more of like a home run at that time. But if we're making 500, we're like, shit, like, yo, we just made 500. Like we just made 300. Like we're not losing money right now.
We slowly started to make money.
Yeah, it was like, we're not, like these deals we're selling now are like profitable. Like holy shit, like we could actually do this. So like, and then all the while too, we're learning the business. Like I'm learning all the reference numbers on the watches. I'm learning the models. Like there's a ton of different brands. Like there's a ton of different, like ways to make money through like flipping watches or whatever. So we walked into the authorized dealer, the one that we were like close with, and he flew into town. Because every time he flew in, we'd make a point to like go in. If we bought watches from them or we'd wear a watch in to like be like, oh, we love your shit. Like, and so we're not selling them, whatever. And the one authorized dealer, Tilo, again, fuck you, Tilo, he brought out a fully iced out 36 millimeter daydate with a rainbow sapphire dial and just all factory diamonds. The watch is
$125,000.
Yeah, the retail on the watch was $125,000. Now again, like we have this like feeling of like, oh shit, like we're getting offered something like
it was an off catalog piece.
Catalog.
There was no real market for it. The retail was $125,000, but we didn't know if it sold because you know how the market is. Yeah. Some stuff sells for $200,000 or $300,000 or 2x. So we didn't know at the time what the real value of the watch was.
Yeah, because like again, you went on Chrono and there was like 2 that were like price on request
In Dubai for fucking 185,000, which is irrelevant because Chrono,
So I'm doing my best. I'm reaching out to every person that I know, which again at this time was like was little in comparison to what we have now with our networks. So I'm reaching out to everybody. And again, people are in our business like are not the most friendly.
They're still standoffish
because like they don't want. If you're making all the money, like they're not. What are they going to fucking help you for? If they're not in on the deal or making some money, they're not.
The more
gonna
knowledge you have, the less leverage they have because they know that the less we know, the more they can get over on us.
Right.
So they don't really want to help us.
So me and him, we have a meeting with our authorized dealer. We're like, all right, let's sit him down. If we're gonna buy this watch, like we now need to like leverage ourselves with him to be like, listen, if we buy this watch, like you gotta.
We should have told him.
Like what's in it for us if we buy this watch?
Shit.
Like. Because obviously, like, we're saying, like, he's going to wear it, and, like, I'll wear it sometimes. A 36 millimeter, bro. It's like a ladies' watch.
It would have been the second watch that we bought, because we did buy a previous watch to start the relationship. This was our second watch. We went from a datejust that was $12,000 to a fucking 6-figure, watch.
Well, for everyone at home watching this, this is not going to happen nowadays.
Yeah, don't try this. Don't do this. You're going to lose a ton of money, which we did, but...
Yeah. So we sat the authorized dealer down. We said, listen, like, if we buy this watch, what do we get if we buy this watch? Because, like, I want Blue Sky Dweller. I want Starbucks. I want Pepsi. I want all the watches that I actually want. Yeah. Like, I don't really want this watch. But like, he goes, this was his words. He goes, if you buy this watch, you blow the doors off.
You get whatever you want.
Literally said, you'll blow the doors off. You get whatever watch you want. He said, what do you want? Pepsi? You want whatever?
Done. And right? Me and him are now sitting there. We're like, oh fuck! Like in our minds, we're like, we made it.
Yeah,
which was
so we make the decision. We're like, fuck it. Let's buy the watch. Wire the fucking Rolex 125,000. When I picked up that watch, well, they actually shipped it, but like when I went to like confirm payment and everything, they met me with a James Cameron and a Pepsi on Jubilee.
Yeah.
The day after I buy that watch. Oh, Daniel, you wanted this one and you wanted this one? I was like, yes, I did. So we buy those watches.
But now think, even with a GMT, a Pepsi GMT that was trading 10,000 over, right? And the James Cameron that was a couple thousand over, right? We now have a watch that's 100. We just paid more because we paid. Did they ship or did we pay?
They shipped everything. Remember, and we shipped everything from after that one.
Oh yeah,
that was like the deal.
Yeah,
they shipped everything.
Right, whatever.
We don't pay tax on.
We were 125,000 out the door, and now we're.
Go ahead. Where are you guys getting that money from? Is that from your business? Is that from?
Yeah, just a combination.
It was a combination. Yeah. Like we made the conscious decision that we're like, all right, we had a working capital pool. Now we're really going to juice it up. Like we can't lose on this. Like so, we took our life savings and boom, we put it into it. So we buy this watch, 125,000. We think we're sitting on gold. Like we're gonna crush it. So I tried selling it in private markets for a while. It's not moving. We ended up.
And this watch is tying up a lot of. It's $125,000. At the time, it's tying up most of our
working
operational capital. So we can't really make moves now. So even if we find deals, we can't fucking pull the trigger on. So if a $50,000 watch comes in or $75,000 watch comes in, we can't really make moves because this is tied up, and we don't want to. We were getting offers for $75,000. So we could have sold it, but we were immediately taking fucking a $40,000 loss on the watch.
And did you purchase that Pepsi and James Cameron?
Yes,
we did. Yeah, but we sold them
sold them right away.
Yeah, we took pictures with them. We played the game. We sent them to them all. We love the watch, whatever.
Yeah.
And
so we flipped those right away, which was cool. But then it gets down to like, all right, we need to move this watch. Like a month, 2 months go by, 3 months go by. It's like, yo, we still have this watch, tying up a ton of money. It's not selling. We're not making profit on it. No dealer's going to even stock it close to what we bought it for. So we meet this guy who was I don't even want to mention his name. I'm not going to mention his name, but maybe you guys will figure it out. There was another like YouTuber watch dealer guy and
who just took off at the time that we were like doing the same shit.
Yeah, like took off, like went wild, like. And he was in LA and Jay's texting me. He's like, yo, he's in LA. Like, go try to plug in with him. Go meet with him. And Jay's talking with him.
You can even say it. Doesn't even matter. I mean.
Yeah. But no, it is what it is. So like Jay's like, go plug in with him or whatever. So I'm like, fuck it. I end up leaving work again. Like I had other shit to do, but I'm like, I like this a lot. Because I had my job.
He was flying from his location to LA to film content. We were able to get in touch with this guy. And at the time, he was a famous YouTuber, famous fucking watch dealer.
So the guy ends up taking a meeting with me. And I met with him and 2 other like watch dealers in LA and like a private office in LA. Like, and the guy in LA is still there. He's a big time dealer. And So I meet with the guy and we start talking about it, and like, bro, here I am like a little like guppy in like a tank with like fucking sharks. Like, bro, I didn't like. I mean, now you want to talk watches, reference numbers, you want to talk market, bro, I'll school. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the best of the best, but like I could hang with the best of the best, talk numbers, talk everything, right? I've been in the game a long time now. Then I was like, still like, oh, I'm unsure of like certain things, and these guys are just chopping it up like, yo, you sold this, I sold this, I did this, and I'm just like kind of sitting there taking it all in. So the guy ended up taking a liking.
They got $1 million watches out.
$1 million watches, yeah.
Each watch, you know, million, 1.5, 700,000, you know, and it's just in our beginning phases.
So I'm sitting there, and then I end up like, again, like one of my skills in life is like making people like me, and I'm become friends with people pretty easily, right? So, and that's just going back to sales. But this guy was like, yo, I like this guy, like he's cool, and he's like, let me sell the watch for you. Like you want to leave it with me, and I'll sell it with you. And he had the reach at the time where like he had clients walking into his store that would potentially buy that watch.
Flying from other states to just to do business with them because they liked, you know, they were famous on whatever.
So now he has the watch, and again, he had it probably for about 2 months, and we ended up selling that watch. I think it was around like 90,000.
So we lost like 35,000 on that watch.
Yeah, so we lose 35,000 on the watch. But all the while, like, it sounds like we're taking all these losses, but there was a lot of wins in that meantime too. Like, because again, the authorized dealers were starting to like hit us with pieces.
With permits and, you know, 5,000 here, 8,000.
So the loss on that piece, we made back and then some on like winners from the authorized dealer. And this is all the while.
But just think in our first year on 3 watches, we lost like almost 50,000.
Yeah.
From getting robbed, from doing, you know, whatever. But it's all, if that stuff didn't happen, we probably wouldn't be where we are, because that taught us a lot of things, right? Like it taught us about the business. It taught us to slow down when we're moving too fast, and we're just doing whatever we can to make money, and we get robbed. So, you know, it was actually a very like pivotal point in our career.
So after that had happened, again, I still had my job at the time. I was like, all right, we were making money now. We said like we're gonna sell 2 watches a month. We were selling like 10, 12 watches a month at this point, you know, like and profitable. Like, so I said to him, I'm like, yo, fuck it, like I'm actually gonna quit my job. Like because now like I have like a meeting to go get a watch.
I was telling him to quit his job for a while.
Yeah,
he again. It's a big fucking
it's hard
jump,
to walk,
bro.
it's hard to walk away from a salary, bro. When you're making good money,
we're losing out on fucking deals because you're driving to like this bullshit fucking sales thing that you don't give a fuck about. So finally, he realized, fucking, he hit me up. He was like, yo, I'm just, that's it, it's done.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna quit, like I'm done. So I remember I called my boss. I had another job lined up.
You almost took that.
Which I almost took it. They were gonna offer me more money. It was in the same industry. They loved me. They were sharking me. They were like, yo, come work for us. Like you could run the fucking department, all this shit. I ended up, actually quitting my job. So I had another job lined up or whatever. And I remember I told the company that I would start in a month. Like, so I had like a month off before the new job was gonna start. So I was gonna take the job. But I was like, all right, yo, in this 1 month, let me see like what I could do full-time flipping watches. And at this time we were Premier Timeco. This is before Premier Jewelers. Like we were a wholesale company.
We were literally strictly wholesale. We weren't selling to end users, friends, family here and there, but we were only selling in wholesale. You know, we're selling to other jewelry stores.
So I basically, I quit my job and I was like, all right, 1 month, I'm gonna run at this full time. Like, let me see what I can make in 1 month. And I basically, we sold like probably 25 watches or whatever it was, 30 watches like in that month. Again, the market was a little bit different, but like I did the math. I was like, yo, if I do this, like I would make my salary in like 3 months, just doing what I'm doing here, you know? So I was like, it was a wrap for me, you know? I was like, all right. I was like, this is it. Like, and then
This is when COVID's hit. COVID hit and the watch market
went insane.
Went fucking crazy.
And I called the new boss to the new job, and I was like, hey, I'm actually not going to take that job. He's like, oh, like, what are you doing? You're staying where you're at? And I'm like, no, I'm going to open up my own business. And like, he was super cool. But like, when I told my old boss that I was like doing that, he kind of like snickered and whatever, was like, don't even worry about it. Don't even come in like the next day. Like, that's how fast they were to like, just like brush me under the rug. Like, they didn't give a fuck about me. Yeah. So, yeah, then it was just like full on every single day, wheeling and dealing. Like, I learned the market. I was in all these like wholesale chats. And at this point in time too, like Premier Timeco's name in the watch world was starting to like, be on the ups, you know, because like, yo, I'm hustling now. And like, I would walk into so many stores and bro, I would get like, these fucking guys would like laugh at me and be like, what else do you have? Like, what else is in your bag? Like, you know, because maybe I had 4 watches.
It happened all the time,
like
bro.
4 or 5 watches. Fast forward to these guys calling me, yo, Daniel, what should I be paying for a 126334? Like, what do you think? Say, like, asking my advice, and I'm like, you motherfuckers don't remember you being like straight dickheads to me when I was in your store. Like, it literally was like that. And
pretty much like kick us out of the store.
Yeah, like laugh us off,
laugh us off,
shoo us off, to then being like in my office, being like, yo, like, what do you think's a good price on this, or like, what do you think I should pay for that, or like, you know, like now asking my opinion, because like they'd see me in the chats blasting out watches. Yo, how are you buying all your watches? Where are you getting all your watches from? I would meet people on like through all different platforms, and they would just become like immediate clients. Like one of my number one vendors, shout out Derek, you'll see this. We've done millions of dollars in business, all through like one connection, just me and him. And it you know, it's just crazy the way it works. But you start small, you start getting laughed at, and then you don't give up, and then you just grind, and then you got like the big timers calling you, asking you like your opinion on market analysis, or what's the price, or you know. So it's just it's a crazy transition, bro. It really is.
And let's go back to Jay here with so you were still kind of here in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So was he doing all the, you know, buying and selling, and or how did that relationship work?
Yeah, so I mean, he was backpacking, like almost door to door in a sense, but the jewelry stores. So yeah, I mean, he already like started to build that wholesale network where we were like a vetted dealer. And then I would fly out every 6 to 8 weeks. We would work ADs. It was a whole crazy thing for years and years, you know. But yeah, I was still cutting hair, full time. But
then we spun it though. So it was like, if he was going to be in that position and I was going to be in my position, then we started to like use his network and be like, all right, like if you're going to be sitting with like these people in your chair for an hour, a lot of these guys have money. They're, you know, finance.
Pretty much all, yeah, like,
you know, they're all successful guys, and he would start to notice like, yo, I'm just gonna use a random name. Like Billy was in my chair today, had a Batman on. Like, and we would just start to like, okay, like this guy's a watch guy, so let me like pick his brain.
It was like the perfect storm. It was we were able to leverage the wholesale stuff that he built and the network that I built in that business for years, and the people that I, you know, was around. And so we very slowly started to go from 100% wholesale to 95% wholesale, 5% retail, because there's bigger margins. And then it just kind of trickled. And
yeah, and you start to build more trust, and then we started to build a book of you start to get like referrals, like yo, like Jay's like client just referred another guy to Jay, because like now Jay gave him a smooth deal, and the watch was awesome, and it's exactly what he wanted, and we got it within the time frame. And you know, we would under promise and over deliver like every single time, and these people they're like, holy shit,
bro. If we had to break even, if we had to lose money on some deals, we would do it just to gain the client. Like, you don't know how many times like people are selfish and fucking, and you know, they refuse to do that, but like we did things that no one else would do.
Yeah. And I'm back to myself here. Back when I started my sneaker company, back in 8th grade, freshman year, I sold thousands of sneakers. But in the beginning, I had to, you know, break even lose money.
Yeah.
Just to build that client.
The trust, and you know, build a name for yourself.
Yeah, it's the same,
you understand.
It's the same thing, bro.
Yeah, it took a long time.
And listen, we still do it to this day. Like, there's times like where we won't make as much money as we should or could, just because it's like we know the magnitude of that person buying something from us earning them as a client is longer than
far more important.
I always say, like, I don't want to eat once. Like, I want to have you over my house for dinner all the time. Yeah. Like, I want to be eating all the time with you. If I eat once, it's like, yo, it makes no sense. It's not sustainable. People want to, like, everyone has a guy, right? It's like, everyone has a jeweler, everybody has a mechanic or whatever. And it's like, we want to become that guy. Like, we would be like, yo, call them. Like, they're trustworthy, they're reputable, they're not ripping you on price. Like, they're fair, you know? And everybody's got to make money, but at the end of the day, like, you gotta be fair. Yeah.
So was the market always booming?
So the watch market, no, it wasn't always booming. But let me take you back a little bit. Like, prior to, during COVID and like slightly after COVID, the market was going nuts. But this is for everything. It was for cars, houses, watches. Basically, the government was
printing so much money going, you know, in crypto, everything.
Money. The government was pumping out money, all the loans and everything like that. So obviously, him being here and me being there, we had to come up with like more of like a structured, you know, plan. So I opened up an office in San Diego in the Jewelers Exchange, And we opened up a small private office here in Red Bank on Broad Street, but it was a private office. It wasn't like this. It
was an appointment. We needed a place to be able to do business where we weren't. So we had a place in San Diego in the Jewelers Exchange to do business, but we needed somewhere here because now we're getting more into the retail space.
Yeah.
So we needed to have people feel comfortable. We wouldn't want to meet people at my other business or wherever.
And was the place was here, correct? The first place you started in New Jersey was here?
We were in the San Diego Jewelers Exchange.
And then the same year we got the office.
But the reason why we did it was to build legitimacy. So like the first, couple of years of this business, like I was running out of a backpack.
So now you have a storefront to back you.
Yeah. Right. But before that, it was like I was out of a backpack, which they call, like in the business, it's called a backpack dealer. There's still tons of guys that operate that way.
And it was also unsafe for us. We were meeting random people that we never, that weren't jewelers, buying from fucking people, selling to random people that we meet on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, all these weird platforms. So we needed a place where we didn't have to go to a random place. They could come to us.
Yeah, and we were able to vet them and sort them out real quick. So after doing all those deals, obviously you learn being robbed a couple times and losing a bunch of money, you get wise to it real quick. You start to understand that when things are so sweet and good, they're not. There's things
you got to slow down.
There's bad things around it. No deal is going to be super easy where you're just going to make a ton of money and they're giving away this watch at this price. Even nowadays, I look at a message they'll be like, "Yeah, is $5K good enough for a gold date?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a fucking scam." You're if anybody's trying to there's so many scams out there and people that get lost in that. So we were "Yo, we need to legitimize ourselves." So we got the offices, and then now it was okay, I source a watch. I'm like, "Yeah, you guys want to meet? Where do you want to meet? Come to my store or come to my office in San Diego in the Jewelers Exchange." So then people were like, "Oh, all right." They feel more when you're a legitimate person, they feel more comfortable. They're like, "All right, I'm gonna go meet him in the Jewelers Exchange. He's on the 4th floor. Come to my office. You can ask the security guard. I'm here to see Daniel from Premier Timeco." He's like, "Oh, great. Go on the 4th floor. He's right there." And the same thing for Jay. It was when he had to meet with clients, it was his clients know him for the most part. So it's they would be okay with going to his barbershop.
But there was a point in time where we started, so we skipped over some things, but we started getting a little bit more popular on social media. We started getting deals from TikTok.
Oh yeah, I want to go to the social media part. How important was that? Because I know right now we're doing pretty well on social media. But in the beginning, I'm sure it was tough.
Yeah, it was a grind, bro. It was a constant grind. It still is a constant grind. But
yeah,
we were consistent for a long time, and we were able to grow to the point that we're at now. But at this time, we finally started to get a couple thousand followers on each platform. We started getting business. There was a time where we had a guy from Virginia drive all the way up. I don't know if you remember this, to Jersey to my store. And again, it was still a little sketchy, but whatever.
He bought 3 watches.
In the same week, we had from social media, we had 4 or 5 people drive from Long Island, Virginia, this state, and all meet at my barbershop. And it was just a little unprofessional. So we came up with the idea we need to get something
small.
And we got it. We always wanted to be in Red Bank, so we picked out a small office in Red Bank where we could, meet safely and be a little bit more professional.
Yeah. So after doing that again for a few more years. Then, obviously with COVID happening, you asked the question earlier about the market and COVID, the market started to take a turn for the worst.
It crashed.
It basically crashed and basically overnight. Some pieces took a 20-30% dip within just a couple of days.
For example, this all of daydate was trading at $100,000 at one point. Correct. Now it's at about $50,000.
Right. So that's a 50% dip just in, it's honestly it's incredible what watches we're doing, and
the economy took a crap. Crypto took a crap. The war started. Everything. The whole economy started.
Where we got lucky and others didn't is that we weren't ever really super inventory heavy. Because we were moving our money a lot. We were in and out, flipping. So we didn't get caught with a ton of money in live inventory. So when those dips occurred, what happened to us? It was shit. We started to have to we would be buying still. But because the market was dropping so fast, we would end up losing because we held something, held it too long.
Well, you got to think there was dealers, and they got a lot of some of our mentors and some of our
lost millions of dollars.
If they had 20 million in inventory and it took a 50% hit, they just lost millions and millions of dollars. So it was a rough time for a lot of people.
It was a rough time for a lot of people. It was hard to
we didn't know what was going to happen with us.
Because we would also be buying stuff that we were so used to selling within a day or two, and then all of a sudden it'd be a week. It's shit, I still have the watch. Then it'd be 2 weeks. Now the price is dropping. And I'm like, man, I just paid this price and it was safe 2 weeks ago.
We were
but now,
so used to making so much
but
money
now
so
dealers
quick.
are going to offer less.
What made you keep going? What?
We learned that like just and this is in any business, you gotta adjust. Like you gotta like shift and move and make changes, and like you can't be so like stagnant, and like what was working a year ago might not work today. So you have to like
We just got creative in how we did business, and we started leaning a little bit more on the retail side too.
leaning more on the retail side, and then like you got to get buy savvy, because like in this business the talent's in the buy. So like for realizing that like, oh shit, like we're losing money, then I need to start buying shit cheaper. And if my offers don't work, then they don't work. And this isn't to like lowball people that were selling me their stuff. This was just the reality of the market. I need to buy something at a price where I know I could sell it and get out for a profit. And again, this is a time people are tight for money, so it worked in our advantage. People were like, okay, well, fuck it. If I can only get X amount for my watch, like I'm gonna sell it. So we got creative, and then we decided that because of the network here that, you know, Jay built, that we wanted to bring this all together, you know, and have.
We wanted to do it for a long time. We talked about it, but again, it's scary. You know what I mean? Like him moving back.
It was another shift.
You know, me having another business and, you know, selling that, but whatever the key, we had to figure everything out. But I think the market got to a certain point where we kind of got stagnant in the business, and we had to figure a way out how to, you know, recreate what we've already built. And we finally agreed that we were gonna build something out here because we had the bigger network out here.
Yeah, and it switched. Like so I ended up coming back over this way. So yeah, then the journey for us after we decided to, you know, come together as one.
We were always fucking.
No, like one location. I'm saying like becoming like as one location. Again, we had multiple locations. We were always the same team, but like to spearhead it and actually have like an actual physical brick and mortar retail location, it was a huge change. Again, it was like another like legendary shift, if you will. I was living in San Diego, my whole life was out there, you know, and again, like a majority of my connections through what we do, which we still deal with now because everything's through the cell phone. But I ended up driving across country. I drove out here. It took me like 3-4 days, and then all the meanwhile, Jay still has his barbershop. So we move out here. We're looking for locations. Now we have the idea, like the solid concrete idea, like here we go. We're going to open up a retail location. And we basically got stuck. Like there was a couple locations we were looking at.
We found a few spots. Yeah. Nothing worked out the way we wanted to. We almost signed a location 3 times the size. We almost got pushed into it. And like we had the LOI out, we had an attorney write all this stuff. We actually lost money on that deal as well. Yeah, so trying to get everything go ahead.
Yeah, trying to get this deal together. They wanted us to sign like a 10-year guarantee on a space, again, 3 times the size of the location we're in now, which we would have never been like really able to like fill from the beginning. It would have been stupid. It would have been huge. And at that point in time, it was like, there was like a little bit of like a deflation, if you will, like, you know, in our spirits, because it was like, shit, like we want this so bad, but like it's not going as like you have it like drawn up in your head. And we both felt about the other location that like it wasn't the one, but we both weren't telling each other because we're like, yo, we got to just do this. Like we got to like put our feet down. And then like we had a conversation like sitting in our car, like I'm like, yo, I basically was like, I'm not like stoked on like this location. And he's like, me neither. So like we were thinking the same thing, like yo, we're getting pressured into this. Like this is not the spot. Like let's go back to like ground zero. Let's figure out like another way. So then we got creative. We ended up meeting this woman, I should say, at a restaurant who also did real estate. So we ended up like sparking a conversation with her. And Jay got savvy and reached out to her and was like, hey, like we're looking for a location. We know you do real estate. We'd love Red Bank, and like just see what you can do.
And this is beginning of 2024, end of 2023.
This is the end of 20.
This is 2023. No.
Yeah, it's 2023 going into 2024. Yeah. We signed the lease in December 2023. So as
soon as we drove by, bro, like with the windows and everything, we knew like this was a spot.
And like the landlord here was like way less easier to deal with. Like they were like the ease of transaction, like with what we wanted and what they wanted, they were easy to work with, and they were like, you could have the keys as soon as like this day, like if you guys agree to it. So we came, we made the decision. We're like, yo, this is the spot. Like this all just like worked out so perfectly. Everything happens for a reason. You know, we found this like wonderful location. Again, we're in the place we want to be. We're in Red Bank, New Jersey, which is an awesome town, super affluent. It's a great neighborhood town. It's also like a little like town square, like in a surrounded by like suburbs. This is like the one place you can come and like walk around and, you know, park your car, go to restaurants, go to bars. You know, there's a multitude of different businesses in this area. So it was like the perfect fit, you know?
And you were doing watches throughout this whole time. So once you opened the store, you got it all built out. Who designed it? It was you?
Jay was the lead designer. With, I mean, a lot of the things you see in here is my touches, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was Jay.
All right. While the whole store is being built out, you were still selling watches during that time?
Yeah, so not only watches, I skipped over a lot of this, but we were also selling jewelry for the like
last few years.
The way that all kind of came through is because when we were selling watches, we would also get inquiries for chains, we get inquiries for rings, we get inquiries for other stuff. And you know, 4 or 5 years ago, we would refer that business. We'd say, oh, I'm like, whoa, that's not us, but like, go see this guy, this guy, this guy. But then me and him had a conversation. We're like, yo, like,
we're in all the same networks as these people.
Why do it yourself? Yeah.
Like, why do we need to give that guy the deal when like we are, again, in all like the same platforms? And in fact, our customer service is better. We treat our clients better. And it's like, why can't we just be a one-stop shop? So it wasn't just watches, but getting into this, like, you know,
it all started with watches.
It started with watches. We turned into a jewelry and watch company. And that's what, like, you know, obviously we have a jewelry store now, so we sell everything. But yeah, it's a snowball effect. You know, you sell one thing, you get into another thing, and then we realized that, like, again, we
love jewelry.
Yeah,
we love jewelry. The art, you know, aspect of it, the design process. It's fun for us. You know, we really thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, you know, building like that dream ring for the client.
Seeing their reaction,
yeah. You know, and even just going from the engagement side of it, having couples come in here and you can see the excitement. You know, they're about to have the biggest day of their life. And we love that we're a part of that with them. You know, we're there through the process to make sure that they're getting the ring of their dreams. And also when it comes to custom jewelry, you know, pendants, and it's an amazing thing to, like, from inception to completion, to have, you know, raw materials, put up a sketch, a design, put it into a computer, actually find the diamonds, put everything together. Like, it's an incredible.
It's art. It's art.
It is art.
Yeah.
So we're modern artists for sure.
All right. So fast forward, the store's finally, you know, fully built. You're ready to go, ready to open. What does that look like? What were you focused on at first, and, you know, what difficulties did you have?
So for us getting open again in not a new area, because we have a network here of people, but understanding that, like, you cannot rely on just like foot traffic in the area. You have to get creative. We had a serious conversation about, like, social media is going to be like the #1 driving factor of, like, business creation and, like, lead generation,
which it was always prior. You know, we grew our TikTok, you know, we grew our Instagram. He was the face of the, you know, the brand. We were doing skits, which started taking off, and that's how we started getting the business. And we knew that, but we were on 2 separate coasts, so it was hard. Like, we would literally come up with ideas driving in the car. We'd be going back and forth.
I would
like,
send it to him. He would edit it.
He would do all the, yeah, it was.
And this is before we had JT, our awesome camera guy.
So we knew that once we had the store, it would be that much easier, because now we're together. But we were missing something. We were missing, you know, someone that really had the mind for it, but also a professional videographer, and that's how we brought on JT, who's behind the camera.
Shout out JT.
He shot a video for me almost a decade ago at my barbershop. That was our initial meeting.
So essentially, when we started, when the store opened, I think we had like 2,500 followers on our Instagram.
Yeah, we had like just over 2,000, and we had like 2,000 on TikTok, and we weren't on YouTube yet, but we always talked about how we wanted to get on YouTube. But again, I was in Jersey, he was in California. It was extremely difficult to do it, but now that we're together.
Yeah, so fast forward almost 6 months, and we're like a hair away from 10,000 followers. And it's all natural. We don't pay for followers, we don't pay for views.
We're on YouTube now.
We're on YouTube, so everybody subscribe. Premierjewelersnj. Like, subscribe. And but yeah, so for us, that was like the #1 driving factor. And it still is to this day. And honestly, it's a full-time job in itself. Like it's extremely hard to like,
difficult.
and you know this, like we brought you on and you know, you're super creative and you know, you're putting out videos that are getting hundreds of thousands of views. The one video's got 7 million views. So like you understand like it's like everybody's on their phones. The way you're getting your information now is through here. The way you're buying is through here. We know that there's like the days of like putting a newspaper ad out, that's all over. Commercials are over. Nobody watches TV other than Netflix.
And it's also about like finding our niche and being different, which like right. I think that separates ourselves.
You didn't want to go about it, the professional way where you come out and your white gloves and a suit.
Yeah, like, and there's nothing against that. That generation and those jewelers paved the way for us. Yeah. But like that's kind of coming to an end. Those guys are kind of shifting out, and we're younger, we're hip, more hip. We want it to be a place where you don't just come and buy jewelry. You could come and hang out. You don't have to buy. Come hang out. Bullshit with us. Let's talk watches. Let's talk jewelry. Let's have a drink. Let's film content. Let's, right. We want you to feel comfortable. We don't want you to feel like we're too good for you or whatever. Sometimes that's how you feel in a jewelry store. So,
and if you watch a lot of our videos too, like you get a sense that it's like, we're trying to be funny, like you're trying to like not make fun of the business, but we're trying to have fun in the business. Yeah. Like we want people to be like, oh, those guys are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like,
and we want them to be a part of it.
Yeah, like that video they did, and we try to collab with multiple businesses. Like we're always other businesses in the area. Like let's collab, let's film,
and we love to support them.
Yeah, let's put something out there. Like it's all about community support. We love the community at Red Bank. We obviously love being in New Jersey. We support our police here. We love being the people's jewelers, if you will, so for us it's definitely a big thing. All right, so it's been a lot of back and forth, me and Jay, but Matt, I want to talk about you for a little bit. Quick introduction. Matt, we call him our sales manager, but he's more than that. He's
our brother.
Matt, how did you find us, and what attracted you to like our scenario and our business?
So I've always been into watches, into flashy things, cars, all this big lifestyle. And like I said, 8th grade, 7th grade, I started businesses making, money that, a kid my age should be making. Now I'm 17. I just finished junior year. I want to do something that's, different that kids my age are not doing. So I would go around, Monmouth County, New Jersey. I would be going to Ferrari dealerships, Lambo dealerships. I would be going to Rolex ADs. I would be going to all these places, I'm big into manifestation and all that type of stuff. So I would play a role and, act a certain way, like to get into that, lifestyle. So one day I came into Red Bank and, like I said, I love watches. So I called a bunch of stores. 3 stores I called before this one, before Premier Jewelers. None of them carried Rolexes or the watches I liked, the APs, stuff like that. And for something I forgot to mention was that I DM'd a bunch of other, big businesses that dealt with cars, dealt with watches, dealt with these type of things. And something told me to delete all of it. And 3 days later, I come to Red Bank. I call Jay. I come into the store, and
How did it go? Like what you tell us?
So we talk about watches. They were impressed with myself and how I carried myself. I told them how old I was, and they were amazed. So once I realized like, oh, maybe I could work here and try something, I pushed it to them, and they eventually gave me the opportunity to come work with them.
We really weren't hiring at the time.
Yeah,
we didn't want to hire anybody, but
we had like 7 kids prior.
Yeah, we had multiple kids prior walk in, and we wanted nothing to do with them, but we saw something different in Matt, and we spoke after he left. We talked about, we're not hiring, we're not looking to hire anybody, but we really see something in Matt, and we really want to figure a way how to bring him on, and we made, some creative ideas, and
and then
now look at him.
Fast forward to Watches by Matthew.
Yeah, so in the beginning it was tough, being so young and being with adults now and with all this money, it's not something it takes time to get used to. So in the beginning it was super slow, and I know Jay was the one who told me to start the Instagram. So I started that, and then the views just took off from there, and everything took off, and now we're at where we're at.
Yeah, it's been awesome having Matt on the team, and
Yeah, it's incredible.
if you guys don't follow him.
Watches by Matthew, great content, great skits, great videos.
He's hilarious. And getting back into our socials too, if you guys, obviously a lot of you guys do follow us on Instagram already, but we are on YouTube and TikTok. So definitely click the link in our bio. Like,
on Instagram,
subscribe.
for YouTube, yep.
It's Premierjewelersnj and Watches by Matthew. So together we're a team that's unstopped, and there's gonna be a lot of funny content to keep coming out, and the future's definitely bright.
Very bright. Speaking about the future, where do you guys see this business within the next let's just say 5 years?
Not from like a monetary aspect, but from just like a lifestyle. I personally see it as like as a family brand, especially like within this area, you know, in the tri-state area. I see us being, you know, I don't want to sound cocky, but I would like to say, you know, being like the number one,
the go-to guys. But yeah, we want to be
we want to be your jewelers. We want to be we want to be able to every aspect. Like, you guys have questions, you're interested in seeing something, you want to build something. Like, we want to be your guys for everything. So I mean, I see us, you know, only growing. Again, we pride ourselves on customer service. Customer service is number one. You can call us on a Sunday night when we're not open. One of us is going to be on the line to answer. Even Watches by Matthew. This guy's texting me at midnight most nights, and he's got school the next day. So it's we're here to make sure that we answer all your questions, take care of you. Obviously, price is important, but we want to make sure that, you know, you get the ultimate experience, the ultimate shopping experience. And Jay's dubbed it before, but it's the premier way. So you come in and you get treated in that way for sure.
So this is the Premier team, Jay, Daniel, and our cameraman, JT. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, comment your favorite clip, comment what you want to see next. This is the first podcast of many. Make sure to follow the TikTok, the Instagram, Premierjewelersnj, and make sure you follow my Instagram at Watches by Matthew. And a special shout out to all our consistent supporters at home for always showing love. We appreciate you dearly, and we're excited for the future. Stay tuned. Peace.